Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet. We've been playing for the last 12 minutes with trying to get attendance going, and I think we may have figured out what I've got to do to make it work so that it's easier for everybody. We will we'll get that fixed for the next webinar, and we'll see what we can get. We'll come back to attendance when we're done. One of the things that I was pointing out is that on Illinois WorkNet, you need to have a partner account in the service finder. And many of you were set up with user accounts to access the customer support center, but were never added for the service finder, or some of the information is out of date, or the information hasn't been updated because you need a new primary contact. So if your name is on this list, and I'm going to go through here slowly, and I'm going to hope that everybody is at least on the webinar or watching the recording. African American Christian Foundation, you're no longer WIOA funded. You might need to make a site active again, ensuring it is not listed as WIOA funded, and get the information updated. Albany Park, you've got an address conflict. Alternative Schools is good. Always Giving Back is good. Angel of God is good. Asian Human Services is good. Aunt Martha's is good. Austin People's Action Center, you've got some address changes, so you need to take a look at that. B&G of Freeport and Chicago are both good. Brighton Park, your site was made inactive in July of 2019. You need to go in and update that, make sure that you have your site information. Build, Carol Robertson, Chicago Youth Programs, Children's Home and Aid, you need to be added. I will show you where the instructions are on the partner page for that. CAPS, you've got the two different addresses located, so you need to make sure that you've got both of those updated. Community Education Network needs to be added. Corazon, we've got some inactivity, so you need to get in, and if you need help with the actual process of this, contact info at, I'm going to put that in the chat. So if you need help, organization, oh, I just spelled that wrong, organization to the service finder, contact info at illinoisworknet.com. They are aware of this, and so somebody will be able to help you through this. I will show you where the directions are, though. DHS, I don't think we need to worry about you. Dream, you're listed in Champaign. We need to make sure that that's correct. EDDR, is there a different name or abbreviation spelled out? Envision needs to be added. Gary Comer, we've got something going on there with Contact Ioki Noel. She needs to be reactivated or replaced. Haven Youth and Family Service, you need to have your program added. Illinois Alliance of Boys and Girls Club, you need to be added. Institute for Positive Living, South Roads address, you're inactive since 2015, otherwise we need to update you. JCFS, I don't know if anybody's on here from there. We've got something there that needs to be added. Leadership Development Institute needs to be added. LMW group, do you need, is there a different abbreviation that needs to be spelled out? Lumity, are you on Van Buren? MICVA needs to be added. New Original Ministries, we've got an address, something or other going on. I'll send this list to Brandon as well and Nicole so that they can help you with some of this information. Northwest Side Housing Center, Of Color, and Operation Uplift all need to add a service location organization in. Project Exploration and Project Vision need to add. Proviso, you've got an address in Maywood, you need a new primary contact. Puerto Rican Cultural Center, division, no response for 6 months. We need to get that reviewed. Revolution Workshop and Rockford Park District, you both need to have something added. Southwest Organizing Project, looks like the site was made inactive. You need to be updated and made active again. You've got, looks like you got a bunch of stuff going on here. So there's some, do you have multiple locations you can? So that's one of the things that you've got to figure out. Universal Family Connection and Urbana Neighborhood Connections, you need to have your site added. So let's minimize this. And I'll go to the partner page. So on the partner page, on the full list of resources, there is a link here to become a partner, request access to CYEP partner tools. Read these first two and then make sure that your site gets added from the instructions on those two documents. It might be only on one of them. The other place that you can go is to Illinois WorkNet. And let me get here down at the bottom. We have partner resources here, and we have a menu becoming a partner. So I'll put this link in the chat as well. So that should also have directions on how to update. Okay. Now, if we're looking for the directions on the career plan, we can also go to the same page where the full list of partner resources are, and you can access the directions for, we've got directions here. I'm reading, I'm sorry. Document customer plans and progress in their career plan. That's the document. And then worksite placement and payroll upload. These are the two documents that you will want to review along with the matching video tutorials. And so let me open this up. Control C. This is career plan. Control V. And then we'll get the worksite directions here for you. Control C. And some of this is probably old hat to you guys that have been working with the youth grants, but it's just one of those pieces that we want to make sure everybody's doing it right. And maybe you've got new staff that's working with this. So we'll just go through here and make sure that what you have is what you need to have. Let me make this a hair bigger here. And we'll pull this over. All right, so we go to our group, and we find a customer. So I'm gonna do Dakota Lastly. And on their profile, once they have been made eligible, and let me show you one more thing too while we're here. So on the progress page, we have just added a case closure option. So if we are going to discharge and close the case, we should have the option here. We're going to push it after today's meeting, just so that it doesn't interfere with anything while you're in the meeting. We're adding an option saying grant program ended. So if you are doing CSYEP and your youth did not end up with employment, or they did get employed and you didn't close them out beforehand, if they are employed and no longer need services, you can pick this option to close them out. If you did not, or if you were not able to find them employment before the grant program ended, you can just select grant program ended. And this will be applicable to the YEEP participants at the end of the calendar year. So that's that update. And remember, it won't be pushed until later this afternoon. So make sure that you check for it tomorrow if you need to use that. Okay, so back to the career plan. We have information here for the customer for their career plan. And we talked about this on Thursday, but I just want to review all of this with everyone who's on the call and those who are going to be watching the call after the fact. So on the overview, we have the ability to add different things for the customer. One thing that we are reviewing, and Brandon, did you get your list that I sent you? You're muted.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, good. Sorry. Yes, I did get the list.
Okay, so what we've done is, and this will only be in effect for new customers moving forward from the day that we get this established, is we are going to pre-populate career plans with goals that match some of the performance pieces that you need to do. And what that means is if you trigger the goal with a date and a started item on the service, then that means that that will trigger it. And then for successful completion, the participant will have to actually complete some of the items and get a credential or get some sort of something that will trigger the completion side of it. But in effect, one of your performance goals is to create a career plan. We're helping you by adding the initial services. And what we can do in the interim is once we get the list approved, we can send that out so that if you're adding people today or tomorrow, then you can add those same steps and goals and use that, and then it will trigger the same responses. So on here, we have the ability for you to review an assessment. And one of the pieces that is part of your performance, especially for IYIP, is to create a case plan. Using the assessment summaries will help you do some of that planning. And what you can do in here is you pick an assessment area, then you review the information about the participant. What will they do to improve? Other supports needed. In here, what you can do in summary, maybe under the other supports needed, as you're talking to the person, if you know that they've got something going on that you can help them with, maybe you make plans right in that other supports needed as far as their case plan would go and what kind of steps and services they need to accomplish this. As you save the changes, so I'm going to just put some letters in here. And I save that change. Oops, I got to pick an area. So readiness training. Save that. That summary is now right here on my summary. And you can edit it and you can use it for setting up the goals and services for your customers. If you want to copy and paste that all into a single document, but Brandon, would you accept a full list of the summaries as acceptable for their case plans if they also have associated goals and services? And if you're talking, you're mute. Did Brandon leave us? No, he's there. Brandon?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was looking at an email from you, actually. I'm sorry, what was the question?
If the agencies use all of the assessment pieces, all of the assessment summaries that are available to them, and then review all the steps and goals, add appropriate goals and services, would that serve acceptably for their case plan? Do you want to give them guidance on that at a later meeting?
Yes, because if they've been through the Casey Life Skills training, they're supposed to use, there's a case plan that they form after they take the Casey Life Skills assessment.
Okay. But that could be uploaded. That could be uploaded to the uploads tab.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So then by working through the Casey Life Skills plan and adding goals and services, they'd be set.
Yes.
All right, cool beans. Okay, so the next piece is on all of these items, the information that is listed in here is all from their application. So you don't have to put in a whole lot of other information, except if you're talking to the customer and you're discussing the barriers to employment, there may be something that maybe the language was a little fuzzy on the application. And as you're talking to that person or going through their Casey Life Skills, then you can form an appropriate relationship to this information based on your conversation with them, because conversations help you build that case plan no matter what. And so then if you're talking about limited transportation or you're talking about limited education or training, what you consider one thing and what they consider another might be two different things, but you're basically talking about the exact same thing. So one of the points that I wanted to point out is we write the application and most of the training materials that we share at a 5th grade reading level, because not everybody tests way up at the top on a TABE score. So we try to write everything so that 5th graders would understand it. And that language is often quite different from what an RFP or a NOFO or an instruction document that I write for you guys is going to actually say. So we have to be able to gently interpret things for people and be able to explain it to them so that they understand. Employment 101 is based on the tests that they take. NOCTI is no longer being used by your grant programs. We have the self-evaluation that's part of Employment 101 now. We have an observational evaluation that talks about some of the same skills, but is based more for a career navigator or a coach or somebody in your organization to observe that participant as they're going through your programs. And then the worksite evaluation is for the participant to be evaluated by their subsidized wage employer. So that's, we're expecting 2 of those, one in the first couple of weeks and then one at the very end of their subsidized wage period. If you want to add the Casey Life Skills, and I was going to find exactly how to add this and add that to the instructions, but you go through add assessments. Has anybody added these in yet? Angel of God or Aunt Martha's that have already been working with this, have you added the Casey Life Skills in here?
Dee, this is Aunt Martha's. I'm not sure if they have, or if the career coaches have added it or not.
Okay.
Well,
So,
we've been administering the Casey Life Skills component, and we have, I think we might have a couple of them entered in, but where we are in the process right now is getting all our information together from those that we're transferring from our old program to this new program.
okay. All right. So I will still continue to find how to enter the Casey Life Skills in here, because I know there is a spot that if you pick the right combination, you get Casey Life Skills to show up in in the assessment name. So I just got to find the right combo. And then it would show up in the bottom down here.
Okay.
So once you have the assessments done, you can move on to setting goals. And once we pre-populate the goals and the services for you from after we get them reviewed, you will see a list of goals down here. I know that one of the goals is to complete Employment 101. But that's actually a service. So it's going to be under career plan. It's going to be a short-term goal, and it's going to be not started initially. So we're going to add that goal. And as you see these goals populate in here, you have the ability to add services here. You can edit the goal, or you can just add another goal statement. Then on the Add Steps and Services page, we have our goals showing up at the bottom down here. And the piece that happens next is you add a step or service. Charlisa, as soon as I get that list back from the admin team, I will share that out with you so that you can make sure that you're adding the right pre-populated goals for your customers now. But if you have not started a career plan for somebody, if you've just got people coming into the system, this will be working probably by, I'm going to say by Tuesday. I'm not going to promise Monday because of the holiday, but it will probably be working for you by Tuesday. So
Thank you.
I just need that list back from the admin team.
And I'm sorry, Dee.
Something happened. You cut out. You're muted.
Okay, it's better. So those goals will be pre-populated in here. So however many they'll be there, and then we'll just click on each one and go from there.
Fix.
Yes.
Edit the steps.
Yes.
But for your customers that are, or your participants that are currently in your system, you'll have to go
Yes.
through and add those steps back for them.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's why you need the list anyway, because you're going to have to do that for those existing customers. Okay. So as I add a step or service, I will see services here. And another piece that I'm working on the back end sort of side of things is we have this filters here you guys are going to be able to see filter by career, training, and support. Those are the 3 areas that you'll be able to filter by, or the all. Right now, I've got my programmers. I've got 3 programmers that I work with personally. I need 4 because I need them all dedicated to the different programs that I work with. But they're kind of like pulling their hair out because they've got too many projects that they're working on. So what we're going to do is we're going to filter these by category for you. But what you can do in the process is you can work backwards on a page and filter by service alphabetically. But then the other piece that you can look for is you can filter by keyword or by search term over here. So if I want to add this complete employment 101 to help reach your training and employment goals, I can add that service, that step, and then it's here, and it will go directly with the steps for complete employment 101. So then when I click on the pencil at the top of this, it will ask me to select a goal. On the pre-populated ones, you will not have to do this. If you add any other goals, say for example, a kid has his car that his grandpap gave him, but he doesn't have his driver's license. So a goal would be to get driver's ed and get his license. So that you would add on your own, and that would be a goal that you would pick and set up a support service or a referral service or something for that. So our goal for this particular one is complete employment 101. We have a planned start date of Tuesday, and we're over here, we're started. Planned due date, we know that employment 101 is a little bit longer, or will be a little bit longer than just 3 hours. And so we're going to give them 2 weeks to finish it. How many hours a week? They're going to spend 5 hours a week. It's not WIOA funded, and any other notes that you need to put in here, you can put here. If this is going to help them with any of these situations, then you would check those boxes, and then you would update the customer service. It asks you if you want to put in a case note. If you don't want to add a case note, click the X. If you do add a case note, you will put in a subject, a message, and save the case note, or send it to whoever you want to send it to. So I'm not going to add the case note. And then I'm going to go back up here, and the service provider. Now, the service provider is especially important if you are making a referral to a training provider or to a referral service of some sort. And on here, you can pick other provider. If you're not doing the service yourself, you can pick other provider, and you can put in the information for that provider. Once you put it in once, and if your computer's set up the right way, it will trigger, it'll, what is it called when your keyboard will give you something? So like if I start typing here, the options up here at the top, it'll give you some options. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So then you can update that customer service, and then you can autofill. Thank you. Thank you. I knew there was my brain. And then if there's a dollar value associated with it, this does not count for fiscal, but it will help you keep track of what have you already paid. So like say this was a bus pass and I put in $29. How many times am I going to offer it? 3 right now. I can save this and it will show me $29, 3. Well, they do it again. I come back, I give them another 3. So it just kind of tracks it. So if you forgot to submit something to somebody and you got to go back and check, if you have it in here, it's kind of like a backup for you. And then for high school, college, for career training, for anything to do with work, you can add a credential, and those credentials can be added manually. It tells you what kind of credential they might have. So it might be an AWS certificate. Where did that credential come from? It's maybe a copy of the certificate or the degree. When did they get it? They're going to earn it on October 30th. What did they get? Is it a digital badge? So they'll get a digital badge and a certificate if they finish Employment 101. As soon as we launch the new one, they'll get the digital badge. Right now, they just get a certificate. And then, so we'll say they'll get a digital badge. Institution is, and the description is, all right, and then save. Okay, my pieces don't go together here because I was just giving you examples, but then you can view the details or you can remove it. If it was wrong, you have the ability to change that. That's the start of their career plan. Now let's also talk about worksite placement. So if I go back to the Build a Plan page, as you can see, oh, let's refresh this, because this piece should have gone to, now I'm in test, so remember this is kind of wonky. My fingers don't type. Now it's updated successfully. Okay, so now if I go back to the Build a Plan, it moved it out of this top table and added it to the goal where it belongs. You can have multiple steps under a goal. It can be 5 or 6 or 2 or 1. So that's there. And then as you complete it, it will give you will add the dates, and you have to go back in and mark completed. So you need to keep track of that. Now say you want to add an employment, a subsidized employment. We talked about this on Thursday, but let's just review. Under the icon for the bulleted list, it's worksite placement. We want to go to worksite placement. We want to make sure that our employers are listed. I'm not going to go through the process of adding a new employer, but you do need to look by project. And I realized that I need to update these to DHS Youth in test as well as in production. So I'm going to filter for my programs, for my providers, my worksite providers. And on here it says add customers, but you don't want to add them here. And we've put in a trigger to help not do that. So I'm going to try to add a customer. So if you try to add it from here, you'll be able to pick a name. And oh, does anybody remember my customer that I was working on? Who was that? Dakota Lastly. I can go through and I can look for Dakota, but Dakota's not there. Let's try Larry. And it's telling me right now, If I want to add employment to this customer, I'll be redirected to the customer career plan. Complete the information on the step. So we're gonna, if you click this button, you'll go back to their career plan. So let me go back to Dakota's career plan, and I'm going to add the step. And on here, we have gain employment. Whoops. And, oh, I want to put a goal in. Let's put a goal in. So say you forgot to put the goal in. And this is going to be career plan. It's going to be short term, not started, add the goal. So we go back to the steps and services. We see that we have the new goal here, add a step, and we're going to look for employment now. And we're going to start permanent employment as part of this program. We're going to add that service step. Click the pencil. Pick our goal. Gain employment. Now this part is different. This part of this particular step, anything that deals with employment, should offer you a list of your employers and work sites. So we want to add from here. So we're going to go to, let's go to page 3. And one of the things that I suggested in the training on Thursday is the fact that y'all have a lot of Walgreens, a lot of CVS's, a lot of the same names that are like close to you in proximity. So if you use more than one, you want to make sure that you have some sort of an identifier to make sure that you're getting the right employer. And this is how you name them in the system when you add them into the system. So is there any questions about that? You can follow the directions. I have that in there, but this piece about naming isn't in the directions, but it's just a tip for you guys. So we want to add the customer. What this does is it autofills some of the information that was already populated by you when you added the employer and the work site to the system. So we have minimum wage for placement. I think you guys are at $15 an hour now. Hourly wage for placement. How much is the subsidy that you're giving them? So I think your subsidy is $15. Correct me if I'm wrong. But on here, it makes the employer match 0. And the position type is going to be part-time. We're starting it. Over here, we got a whole bunch of dates that we have to enter. What's the start date of the position? And this is like covering up my calendar here. There we go. So we want to start, we're going to start them the day after they finish Employment 101. So we're going to do October 28th. Even if you know that it's 3 months, don't put the end date in yet, because what if they stop early, or what if they become inactive, or what happens if? So we don't put an end date in. We do put a subsidized wage start date in. And then when their 90 days is done of their subsidized wage, you put the end date in and take out this $15 right here. Those are in the, that's all in the instructions as well. Oh, thank you, Camilla. Okay, so then we have how many hours a week are they going to work? They're going to work 25. It's not WIOA funded. And there are other notes if there's like, they need to bring this and this and this, or whatever it is that's applicable to that. Then we update this customer service. Save it. I'm going to just save it as a case note. I'm going to add that case note. And remember my philosophy on case notes. It does no good if it's just up here in your head. You've got to get it down on paper. Once, well, on the computer. Once you have this added, then we have a status history of what happened with that customer. So we know that they're starting on October 28th. We know if they became inactive. We know when they returned if they were inactive. We know when their subsidized date ended. We know when things were updated. And then we have follow-up. You guys are required to do follow-up for 270 days after they begin their employment. So we know 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, these will all open up and allow you to check them once you reach that date. And there is a line on the dashboard that tracks this, and we talk about those numbers down the line when we start talking about customers. And some of you know that I'm not nice when it comes to those numbers. The point being is this gives you the opportunity to touch base with your clients, find out if they still need supportive services, find out if they're still working there, find out how they're doing on their job, get their worksite evaluations completed, get all of those pieces done that you need to do with those participants. And then you update the customer service as you're going through these follow-ups. Add a case note when you do the follow-up. Ask them for stubs if they're working permanently without a subsidy, then you can still mark this in here. They wouldn't have a subsidized wage, but these dates still follow. And then you can keep them going, keep in communication with them so that you get that 9-month follow-up. All right, questions? Any questions about career plan? No, yes, maybe. All right. Sam's typing. I don't know if he's typing. Oh, you're welcome, Sam. I'm glad. All right. So I will, let's stop the recording and finish up attendance, and then I'll get you out of here. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks unless you've got a question. So on the 20th, use the DHS partner page to get to the right webinar space. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.